It is suspected that Ukraine is just the beginning of Putin's imperial ambitions. Russia is running a war economy. Russia is increasingly dependent on that war economy. A humiliated Russia could save face by attacking and annexing another country. Russia may be reluctant to demobilize, as hordes of disgruntled soldiers would be hard to reintegrate into Russian society. Russia has many incentives to fight endless wars. And so it is widely suspected that Russia may soon attack another country. But what country? That is the key question. What about Finland? Finland is not a serious option. Invading Finland did not go well for Russia last time. Finland has a very capable military. They are also a member of NATO. The rest of Scandinavia would immediately intervene. Russia would likely be crushed by Scandinavia alone. The Baltic states are a more suitable and more likely target. Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. They are NATO members. That is the primary deterrent. Their military forces are small, far smaller than those of most other states on the Russian border. If Russia attacks NATO, these states would be the easiest victims to test the alliance. Independently, they have little chance due to their small defence forces, tiny populations, and a lack of strategic depth. Perhaps a more likely target is Georgia. Georgia is a small state with a weak military. Russia has seized their territory in the past and could quite easily do so again. Georgia is not a member of NATO. However, if Putin wants a sustained conquest to keep the war economy going, Georgia probably cannot provide that. But they could provide a swift victory for Russia, allowing Putin to save face. What about the other countries in the Caucasus? Armenia is a traditional Russian ally, so an invasion would be improbable. Azerbaijan has a powerful military. Worse still, Azerbaijan is close with Turkey. That could risk a confrontation with NATO. Central Asia provides some more likely options for a potential attack. Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is a large country with a substantial population and a solid defence force. They would not be an easy opponent, but they would be an easier opponent than Ukraine. They have significant natural resources, which Russia would love to get its hands on. A successful invasion would also help Russia to save face. It would be far more difficult for the West to resupply Kazakhstan. Still, Russia may prefer their more covert method of political meddling to get what they want in these other post-Soviet countries. Destabilizing a large Muslim country on your border could create a very big mess for you to clean up. That could be a massive mistake. The various other Central Asian countries could also complicate things. If Uzbekistan and others were to support Kazakhstan, that would make things very difficult for Russia. And they would have an incentive to support Kazakhstan, as they could easily be the next ones on the chopping block. United, these countries have a substantial military capability. To a large extent, it will depend on Russia's confidence. Has Russia learnt many lessons from the Ukraine war, and could these give Russia an edge over inexperienced opponents? That is a noteworthy factor. What about Mongolia? Mongolia is a large country with a weak military and a border with Russia. And Mongolia does not have a border with Western states, making Western resupply very difficult. But I don't think Russia will attack Mongolia. This could trigger an aggressive response from China. Mongolia is useful as a buffer between the two states. China could feel threatened by such a move. The last thing Russia wants to do is provoke China. China needs more resources and already has a major incentive to invade the Russian Far East. Russia would be idiotic to give them an excuse. China could easily defeat Russia if it came down to that. Furthermore, Mongolia is a rugged and mountainous country. Launching an insurgency against Russian occupation would be very easy. Russia has vast borders. There are many countries that Russia could attack. We must make sure this does not happen. Russia must be decisively defeated in Ukraine. Their belligerence needs to be severely punished. Russia must be subject to brutal sanctions. Ukraine must be well armed. Russia must be rendered incapable of waging war.